How many medals do you have?
More than 500. I'm talking about just gold medals.
And where do you keep them?
It's sort of a hidden display in my office that actually measures probably about 4 feet wide and about 5 feet in height because I didn't know what else to do with them.
The man you are listening to is 82 years old. He was blessed with a jump shot. Since 1998, when he was 55, he has gone about the business of winning these medals on the basketball court with an implanted pacemaker the whole time, not to mention all of the other injuries and ailments he's gotten playing full court basketball into his 80s, but we'll get to that. This is Harry Carothers. At the time of our interview in late October, Carothers had recently arrived back to his home in Pinellas Park, Florida. He had been in St. George, Utah for the 2025 Huntsman World Senior Games.
Okay, listen to this. The world's largest multi-sport event for athletes over the age of 50 is happening right now in southern Utah. The Huntsman World Senior Games are bringing thousands of competitors from around the globe to St. George for 2 weeks of friendly competition, among other things.
Carothers participated in 4 events. The 80-plus men's basketball 5v5 and 3v3 with the Clearwater Aces, the team Carothers captains, and 2 shooting competitions, the men's 80-plus free throw and three-point shoot, and the hot shot competition. He was looking to defend every single title. He walked away with 3 golds and 1 silver.
After winning so many gold medals, how do you celebrate one?
Oh, I don't really celebrate them. I just enjoy the competition.
And are there any of those, hundreds of gold medals, are there any that stand out to you as particularly special?
Yes, the national championships for National Senior Games. We've won, the Clearwater Aces have won the Nationals 3 times, and it just so happens that those 3 times have been the last 3 competitions.
This past July, the Clearwater Aces traveled to Des Moines, Iowa to complete their three-peat. They played 6 games on their way to the final, winning all 6 by an average of 35 points, including a 68-point beatdown of the Threshers, a squad from Illinois. The Aces matched up against their rival Detroit Metro, who had also finished the regular season undefeated. The Aces beat them by 25 points. And Carothers walked away with an additional 2 gold medals. 6 years ago, all of this seemed virtually impossible. In 2019, Carothers didn't know whether he would ever play the game again after undergoing a 5-level spinal fusion surgery that was as intense as it sounds.
I was on the operating table 10.5 hours, and he fused all my lumbar vertebrae. So I've got 2 metal rods in my back with 10 screws and metal spacers in between the vertebrae. And what that did is it took a lot of flexibility out of my lower back. I can't twist and bend and jump and be as agile as I used to be before that surgery.
Carothers was away from the game for 2 years. When the Air Force veteran came back to the court, he was a shell of his former self.
I felt like, where did everything go? I had lost all my shooting. I'd lost my coordination. I seemed to have lost everything. And I just thought to myself, boy, this is where I might just have to hang it up.
But at 78 years old, Carothers decided he couldn't be away from it. Against all odds, he would make a comeback. And so he trained. He worked out at a local rec center, playing half-court with guys in their 50s and 60s 3 times a week. He started lifting weights, stretching, training to become the player he had been once again.
The improvement came little by little. I think the reward of seeing the improvement made me begin to realize that, hey, this is working. And in fact, since I started my comeback, I've been on 3 national championship teams. So I'm right back up where I want to be.
It's not the only ailment that Carothers has had to play through. He's had several major health issues and surgeries, including bouts of prostate cancer, a hernia surgery, a replacement knee that, quote, didn't work out so well.
My left knee doesn't bend more than 90 degrees.
A bad left shoulder, and since 1997, at age 54, before he began his senior games career, an implanted pacemaker.
When I started playing, I talked to my cardiologist and said, what should I do to protect this pacemaker? He said, I'd recommend that you wear a pad. I started looking around sporting goods stores for something that somebody else already invented, and I couldn't find a single thing. So I created something myself.
I read that you fashioned that pad out of a child's shin guard?
My original one I did, right. I made 3 of those, and I wore them for many years. And since then, I discovered that in archery, archers wear these things that push their shirt flat against their chest. And I thought, boy, that would be a great replacement. And so that's the system that I'm using now.
It was from his father, who played basketball semi-professionally, that Carothers inherited athletics. The pair often played in the backyard of his childhood home in Matawan, New Jersey.
My father always encouraged me when I was young. We always had a basketball hoop in the backyard from as long as I can remember back, before I could even shoot the ball high enough to touch the hoop.
As he told Del Moon of the National Senior Games Association in 2014, when I started high school, I would shoot baskets into the dark until my neighbor would yell, "When are you going to stop so we can get some sleep?" Despite this work, he did not get the shot that he thought he deserved.
In high school, I didn't start. I was like the 6th man. I was on the starting team in football, and I played basketball and ran track.
After high school, he
went to college at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania.
And did you play basketball at that time?
No. Actually, I went out for the freshman team and didn't make the second cut.
Upon graduating, Carothers joined the Air Force, where he served for 28 years as a C-130 airlift pilot, stationed in Taiwan and Vietnam, at times taking enemy fire. But that didn't stop him from hooping.
I've had a 28-year career in the Air Force, and I played a lot of basketball in the Air Force also. And it was in the Air Force, really, that I really gained a lot of self-confidence, and my jump shot really became very consistent and accurate.
Carothers played every day at lunchtime, as well as on base teams, including a stint on a team at a school he attended for 1 year.
When did you realize your jump shot was special?
I went to a school in the Air Force called Industrial College of the Armed Forces, and it was in Washington, D.C., and it was a 1-year school. And I was on the basketball team, and he set up all these plays for me to be the scorer. And it was kind of a new experience, to sort of be the lead shooter on the team. And I loved it. And it gave me a lot of confidence to sort of go forward with.
After the Air Force, Carothers worked in the aerospace field, and after bouncing around a bit, found himself working on launching the first GPS satellites.
On the news this evening now, the first in a new series of American satellites is in outer space tonight. It was launched this afternoon. A $30 million Delta II rocket finally got off the ground after a 2-day wait. Skies were clear today, so the space agency was able to begin placing new navigational satellites in orbit. The satellite launch today is one of 18 that will be used by the military. Together they'll enable our troops to determine their location and altitude within 53 feet of anywhere on Earth.
Carothers moved to Tampa to be closer to his parents in 1993. It was in 95 that he
saw an article in the newspaper that advertised a basketball shooting contest in Tampa.
At this contest, Carothers met the 6'6" Walter Deal, a former collegiate athlete for the University of Evansville Purple Aces. Deal, impressed with the New Jersey native's shooting prowess, invited him to join a senior team he was forming, the Clearwater Aces. They won the state championship that first year.
And that began the whole thing.
Now, Carothers makes the calls for the Aces, at the helm not only for a three-peat in the National Senior Games, but also a 5v5 three-peat in the aforementioned Huntsman World Senior Games in October in similarly dominant fashion. This is all on top of winning the Masters Basketball 5v5 tournament held in Coral Springs, Florida, 4 years in a row without dropping a single game.
We've got good chemistry because we've been doing it for a lot of years.
And is that what makes you guys so dominant?
Well, I think that as a team, we complement each other's strengths very well. We all know each other's game, and we know when a guy gets into a position where he can make a shot and we'll get it to him. We've been doing this for so long that as long as we keep a good motion offense, as long as we all keep moving and we keep the ball moving, eventually somebody's going to pop wide open for a good shot.
Carothers tells me that he still works out 3 days a week, consisting of 2 hours of half-court basketball, followed by an hour of weightlifting, further followed by an hour stretching on the stationary bike or stair-stepper.
That's a 4-hour workout. That's quite a bit for an 82-year-old guy.
But it's all worth it. All of the work, all of the recovery, all of the surgeries. Carothers has given everything to the game of basketball.
When I retired from the Air Force, I had an emptiness. You know, you're kind of on your own to find out what your new priorities are going to be, what your new goals are going to be. Basketball was always sort of an outlet for me. Basketball was always the way that I could relax and get away from my problems. And the medals aren't important. It's the fun that I've had that's important. Maybe it goes back to my dad, you know, when I was young, and we had a hoop up in the backyard and a spotlight on us, so we could play after dark even, and we'd be out there doing shooting contests. And he was very competitive, and he used to beat me all the time, and I would try so hard. So my earliest memories, you know, go back to basketball. And then some of my later memories, my mom died of cancer and my dad moved in with me. And for 3 years, he lived in my home, just the two of us together. And he went everywhere with me. And every day when I went to the Y to play basketball, I'd put a chair next to the court and he'd sit there and watch us play basketball. He'd be there the whole 2 hours and enjoying it. You know, I felt like I was really playing well, and my dad was sharing this with me, and that was very meaningful. And my dad finally passed away at 100 years old. You know, finding something that really motivates you and sticking with it and taking it as far as you can and being the best you can be, it's really a great experience.